Welcome to Vacuum Wars and to my review of the Roborock S7 MaxV Ultra robot vacuum. It has a ton of new features and upgraded specs from previous Roborocks, as well as something that might prove to be the future of robot vacuums, a dock that not only empties the dustbin automatically, but washes and refills the mop system too. I've put it through all kinds of tests in the past 2 weeks, and I have a lot to say about it, so links in the description, and let's get started. To orient ourselves, let's first look at the last three flagship robot vacuums from Roborock, the S6 MaxV, the S7, and the S7 MaxV. All three navigate using a top-mounted LiDAR system, but only the S6 MaxV and the S7 MaxV have additional front-mounted sensors to recognize and avoid obstacles that are too low for its LiDAR or too light for its bump sensors to recognize. The S7 MaxV has upgrades to that obstacle avoidance system that the S6 MaxV did not, like structured light 3D scanning, additional LiDAR sensors, and a light for use under furniture or dark spaces. The S7 MaxV is being sold as a Plus version as well as an Ultra version, with the difference being that the Plus version comes with the old-style auto-empty dock, which can have either a bag system or the new bagless module sold separately, and the Ultra dock being the one that we'll talk about at length in this review. Roborock claims that the S7 MaxV has the highest suction power of any Roborock yet at 5100 pascals, and in the suction and airflow tests, I did in fact find it had at least twice the suction as the older S7, and it excelled in related tests, like the crevice pickup test, where it was well above average, as well as the carpet deep clean test, where I embed sand into medium pile carpet and weigh the bin before and after, where it scored much higher than average. In fact, it was the highest score I've seen for any robot vacuum that has a mop attachment. I've always spoken very highly about Roborock's ability to sweep hard floors and carpets, meaning the pickup of debris on the surfaces of hard floors and carpets, and the S7 MaxV is as good or better than previous versions. Very little scattered debris from the side brushes, and a nice clean pickup on its default power setting, even with difficult tests like cat litter or sand on hard floors. So the S7 MaxV was as good as it gets with picking stuff up from the surface of floors. The mopping system, I think, is what really sets the S7 MaxV apart from its competition. It seems to be the same system we saw on the S7, which has a separate electric water tank and a detachable plate where you can attach either a microfiber or disposable pad. It has the same sonic vibration technology we saw on the S7, which vibrates the pad mechanically for better loosening of stuck-on stains, as well as the motorized lifting of the mopping pad when it senses carpet, which as far as I know makes it the only robot where you can technically just leave the mopping pads on and it will just figure out when to mop or when not to mop in your house. In the mopping tests I did, it was exceptional. It was able to completely clean both the dried-on grape juice stains and the dried-on V8 juice stains in 2 runs, making it one of the better performances I've seen, with the possible exception of the regular Roborock S7, which as I said has the same system. It did well with water distribution, as you can see by the infrared shots. At my house I found it picked up all the stains I spotted beforehand in only 1 run, some of which were particularly sticky. It was great with navigation, as most Roborocks are. In the coverage tests I found it to have almost 100% coverage of both the small and large rooms in a short amount of time. It also mapped my house on the first try using its new initial mapping program, which doesn't clean but just sort of looks around for a few minutes to get the basic layout of the floor plan, which I like. And it was able to successfully navigate the house on its first run without incident. It has NoGo Zones where you can draw lines or boxes on the map in the app to keep the robot from going where you don't want it to go, a feature that I use and recommend. It has the same 5200 milliamp hour battery seen in most premium Roborocks, with the official spec being 3 hours of runtime on low power, which is well above average even for expensive robot vacuums. The Roborock app has always been one of my favorites. It's very feature rich and intuitive, but they've recently added some features having to do with more layers for the maps, including a 3D map mode and a matrix mode. Moving on to the new obstacle avoidance system called Reactive AI, which I tested in all kinds of ways and found it was able to avoid the various obstacles like cords, cloth, small objects, and novelty pet waste. It avoided them all perfectly in the controlled test, something that only a handful of these AI robots have pulled off. At my house, I noticed that there was a difference with its avoidance on rugs that have a busy design, like this one in my living room, where it seemed to not be able to see or avoid nearly any object, but the same object on hard floors it avoided with no problem, which is something I need to investigate further. I do plan on doing all new tests next week with the obstacle avoidance robots I own, kind of an AI competition, so I hope to know more about this topic very soon, but I would say that while the S7 MaxV is one of the better AI robots, it's not perfect, none of them so far have been, and you should expect it to take some time to learn with its AI and be sure to get frequent updates to its image library through app updates. Moving on to the Ultra Dock system, where when the robot returns to its base to recharge, it will not only empty its dustbin automatically, but it will wash the mopping pad and refill the clean water tank on the robot. This is a big deal because it moves us a huge step forward to the dream of a completely automated floor cleaning system. From what I could tell, it was as advertised. It cleaned the mop pad with its active scrubbing system built into the dock, and there were no leaks or other obvious issues. The clean and dirty water tanks seemed to be well built and very easy to use. Really, the only question I had about the system is something that I can't answer, which is how well it will hold up in the long run. The reason I say that is that it has a few more moving parts than normal with its internal scrubbing system, which means it has more ways that it can fail. But if it holds up, and I see no reason it shouldn't, I think it's the system to beat for now. My take on the S7 MaxV is that other than the high price, there's very little not to like about it. I've been using the S7 Plus at my house for the last few months, and I'm trading it out for the S7 MaxV Ultra because I want to know how this new dock holds up to constant use. Because if it holds up, I think there's no question it's the best all-around robot vacuum system in the world right now. Links in the description, and be sure to subscribe to Vacuum Wars before you leave. Thanks for watching.